Good afternoon, and my name is Jim Haig, and I'm pleased to be here today to interview on behalf of the Frank McGuire Foundation, a legend in high school football in the state of New Jersey, none other than my friend Vin Ascolese, who I've got the pleasure to know and cover over the last 25 years. And Coach, it's great to be able to spend some time with you.
It's great to be with you, Jim.
Okay. And just from your basis, I mean, we're here to discuss the Frank McGuire Foundation. You were a recipient of their award a couple of years ago. What has it meant to you to have to be involved with such an organization like the Frank McGuire?
Well, I think that they're caring about high school students and coaches, through coaches, is you can't weigh it. The money that they handed out is invaluable. You know, I used it to buy some video equipment. I used it to buy some weight equipment. I used it to buy awards. I've used it for so many things. It seems like it lasts forever. And just the thought of them thinking of other people is insurmountable.
And how important was that for you to consider in thinking of the other people that have received that award in the past to be considered with those that have been honored by the McGuire Foundation?
Well, it's a great company to be in. You know, Warren Wolf, Ed Stinson, the guys out of New York. I've got to meet a lot of people that I probably wouldn't have met because it's a different area. They're talking to, you know, you're dealing with the people from the other side of the river that we really never, Tony DiMatteo, you know, I heard of him, I never met him. And through this organization, I got to meet him, and you hear about what other people are doing for kids. McGuire runs an event in the spring, and it's basically for coaches, and people don't get there, they're out of their minds, because what they're dealing with is, they're not dealing with X's and O's or about basketball, you know, the zone, or whether you're going to play man-to-man, or whether you're going to play zone and man-to-man. They deal with discipline problems, and how do you handle them, and how do you help kids who are in trouble that live in projects and things like that. And there's so much knowledge that's shared by the people that attend that it's a tribute to the organization.
All right. Well, let's take a little brief trip down memory lane and go back to how this all came about. And first of all, let's talk a little bit about your childhood. I know you grew up in the Marion section of Jersey City, and talk a little bit about what that was like being an Italian American and being in that neighborhood where there was filled with Italian Americans, and how much did that help to mold what you are today a little bit?
Well, I think that I grew up in a neighborhood where your grandparents lived. Everyone knew one another. Everyone watched out for one another. You remember, my mother's Irish, so was Irish. And I think that all of that, playing in the street, you know, no organized leagues. You want to play in another neighborhood, you have to go see guys in the other neighborhood and say, all right, Saturday we'll meet you in West Side Park and we're going to play you. And no one had any helmets. And all of those things help to make you realize as life goes on that it was a great chance to learn from those who were before you. You know, we all had our idols. My idol was a cousin of mine, played fullback at Prep, Tony Lamino. And every time they played, of course, we went to watch him play, and we were so proud that he was part of our family that, you know, we could brag about him. And I think that all of those things help you in life as you go on.
Okay. You went from that area of Jersey City to St. Michael's of Union City, where you began your athletic career. And what was that like to get a chance to go to St. Michael's, to play sports there at a time when...
For me to go to, my father had me go to Dickinson. And of course, my mother was against public school. It was that you had to go to a Catholic school. And I went to St. Michael's, and it just was a tremendous... it was a school that was like a family. And everyone, you know, the kids helped raise money for the school. The parents helped raise money for the school. And everything was involved in that school. So your family became part of that school, just as that school became part of your family. And that was tremendous.
Okay, and then you just mentioned Jackie Moore is a childhood friend of yours, and he's still a member of your coaching staff, and the two of you work together now closely for, I guess, the last 12, 13 years.
Yeah, when he retired from head coaching, he didn't know what he was going to do, and in conversation, I said to him, why don't you come and coach for me?
and it's been a marriage that's worked quite well.
Yes.
As long as you make sure that you make the final decision on calls.
I like
Okay.
to listen to people.
Okay. Then you went from St. Michael's of Union City to Uppsala College, and how much did that maybe transcend a little bit to make you steer you in the road to want to become a coach?
Well, like if you think about Uppsala College, Buddy Gangemi from Jersey City was a player at Uppsala College way before me. And then in the summers, I got to meet Sonny Satasimo,
Okay.
who coached at Union Hill and then at Riverdale. Became a legend at Riverdale. And Sonny was an Uppsala graduate. He had gone there after the Second World War. And they were guys who were big proponents of the school. But the thing is, I went to St. Michael's, they closed. I went to Uppsala, they closed. So don't follow my footsteps in choosing colleges or high schools.
Yeah, but I think North Bergen's going to stay a while.
Yeah, they'll be around a while.
Okay.
It's going to take 1 moment.
Okay. All right. Now, you graduate from Uppsala. Did you know at that time that you wanted to become a teacher and a coach? Was that the goal?
Yeah, that's, in fact, I enrolled at Uppsala, and I didn't realize that they didn't have phys ed. It was a chance to go to college. So when I got in there, then I figured I would get into the teacher's program, be a history teacher. And that was my goal. I didn't really want to be a teacher. I wanted to be a coach.
Okay. That was, do you remember, say, at what point in your life when you said to yourself, you know what, this is the profession I want to choose. I want to become a coach.
Having been around San Monaco in high school, and having that desire to do what those people did. And then while I was at Uppsala, North Bergen High School opened, and a teammate of mine was a North Bergen resident, Freddie Constantino, who had also gone to St. Michael's. And over Thanksgiving, he said to me, Coach Coviello has asked me to come up to 64th Street Field the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday after Thanksgiving. He's putting together his new football team, and he really can't have any people who are going to work in the school as coaches helping him out. Would you want to come up and help us? So I said, sure. And I got to spend 3 days with Coviello with his initial football team. And I realized then that was just the greatest feeling in the world.
Okay. So how did Demarest come about? And is that, I mean, you didn't have ties with Hoboken at all? No.
Not really.
And
my father was from Hoboken.
Okay. But how did that all come about? And that was your first job, and you got hired right away, right? You did not, correct me if I'm wrong, you were never an assistant coach.
No.
You got hired right away.
What happened to me was I coached a year at Uppsala when I was doing my student teaching. And Sam Monaco was telling me, you can coach at St. Michael's with us, but you should get a job in the public school system. And he said to me, but Hoboken is open. And I coached at Hoboken, and I have a great rapport with the guy who's chairman of the athletics. He said, go down and put an application in, I'm going to speak to him. So I did that, and they offered me, they said to me that I could be a history teacher in the new high school, and that I would be the line coach, but they were going to hire an experienced person as the head coach. Well, what happened was they wanted Sam Lupo, who was leaving Lincoln,
Okay.
and they were infighting over someone who had been an assistant there, and Sam wound up taking the Woodbridge job.
Okay.
And now it was the end of June. And then they wanted a former player who was working out in Long Island somewhere, and he wanted them to add wrestling. They didn't want to have wrestling.
Okay.
So he decided that he didn't want the job. So now we were into the middle of July, and my father-in-law had said to me, I know the mayor of Hoboken. So I said, well, I don't think that's going to help. But anyway.
Is that how that came about? He was going to call the mayor?
He did call the mayor, that's for
Okay.
sure. And then they called me back, and there was another interview. And eventually in August, maybe around the 7th of August, they gave me the head coach's job.
Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, you were 22 years old.
Yeah, I was 22 years old.
Okay, and became a head football coach at the age of 22. Okay, talk a little bit about those early days, and then the first thing, establishing respect. I mean, back then you're not Vin Ascolese, you're just some guy from Jersey City.
What I did was I went down into Hoboken. I knew a few families. One of them had a kid on the team, and I went and I spoke with them, and I told them, what my vision was. I thought Hoboken could be a